I get a lot of questions about streaming and even about whether or not I really enjoy it. So today I wanted to answer those questions, but more importantly, give you a peek behind the curtain. That way you know whether or not streaming or even content creation is for you or a loved one. Sounds like I'm about to tell you about mesothelioma. If you enjoy the video, you learn something, please, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and check out my second channel, Expel Uncut, for raw, unedited Warzone gameplay. You know what, man? This is a topic that I'd love to like have at a different time, but Brooke and I were having a conversation the other night, and it was like something that I wanted to have like a whole like podcasting session on, but it's like streaming for a living has become trash. And not like I'm not saying I have a bad time or anything like that, because I have a great time streaming. It's a good time, but I'm saying the mindset of like the viewers is so disgusting in a lot of I'm obviously not my active like regular chat, but there's like, you know, some people that don't usually watch streams and they'll hop in and they're like super hateful. And the big thing is it's because of like the idea that streamers are lazy, right? And Brooke had a great point on this. Like she really did. Like, you know, it was like I said something about how I was tired of like how people perceive streamers, but the truth is the average streamer is lazy. You know, the average streamer, and I mean the average streamer. I'm not talking about the top 1%ers. I'm not talking about me. I am a like top 0.01% streamer. Like, I'll be honest. I am a top 0.01% streamer, right? But the issue is the people that aren't, the 99.9%, they're looking for the easiest route to make money. And that's kind of the disgusting thing, is that streaming was not popular, like not like super popular before COVID happened, right? Streaming was not super popular before COVID happened, but because everybody's sitting at home, they can't make any money any other way. They're getting their free check or whatever from the government. They're sitting there and like, what can I do while I'm here? And everybody's like, oh, I know how I could make some extra cash. I'm going to stream, because they see it online. They think it's super easy, but the reality is it's not. So what happens is it changes the mindset of streamers to where everybody thinks that they're just doing it for money, which, yeah, at the end of the day, you know, it's a job, but it's not just like one of those things where it's like, oh, it's just a job, right? It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, it's just a job, because the reality is in most scenarios, you're supposed to put a ton, and I mean a ton of work into streaming. You should have plans and stuff like streaming should be one of two things. If streaming is your main gig, you should actively be planning out all of your streams. Hey, that's good shots, bro. Enjoy the cash, enjoy the cash. You should actively be planning out all of your streams and stuff like that, putting in all your planning into that 4 to 6 hour stream, and then whatever tips come from that, whatever. Which, by the way, that is the scariest thing, is like having to live off of tips. You know, that was the one thing that, even being a server, I just don't like the idea of having to live off of whether or not someone is going to give money. It's like a terrifying thing. It's the whole reason I do content, is because I want it to be based on the work that I do. Nice work, kid. Streaming has become something entirely different. The truth is, streaming used to be much harder. And now that it's become more accessible, everybody and their mother that thinks that there's somebody is trying to be a streamer. Hey, bro, I'm up on the bridge. Could you just let me do my thing, bro?
Sure, man. Sure.
Oh, sorry. Watch the nade. I thought we were actually gonna. I thought you were gonna fight me. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm just like talking to myself over here. My bad. You need anything? I got $5 grand. You need some money for guns?
I'm good, man.
Do you mind if I grab a armor satchel off of my dead body over here?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, maybe not. So again, I think the big issue is that streaming doesn't take big balls. Well, you know, it doesn't take the cojones that it used to, because it's so ridiculously accessible to anyone. I'm 1 HP. It's so ridiculously accessible to anyone that everybody during COVID wanted to use it to just make money. Just pop in and do some easy shit, make some money. But the reality is it wasn't easy. You know, they got away with it because everybody had an abundance of money during COVID. But now everybody thinks of streamers as these lazy people that just hop on and play video games all day. When the reality is like, that's just the lower 99%. You're not looking at the top 1% that's actively putting in a ton of work into their content or like working on hiring out people and building out like a media company like I am, right? You don't look at that. And you know, I don't think I'm a perfect example, right? There's plenty of other people like, you know, ridiculously top percent, like Pokimane, Ludwig, stuff like that. But it's just, it's become this thing where I'm getting and people think that I cheat in video games, and people think like all these awful things about someone like me who has actively, one, never cheated in a video game. Like people like me who have done this for like 10 years and like actively put in so much effort and work and tried to provide value for other people. We take the at the like mass, you know? We take the from the masses because of like the bottom feeders that try and just like make money from this. And it's because it's not just a money game, it's a legacy game. Until you walk in the shoes, you don't get it. I'm not saying like I live some crazy like hard life or anything like that. That's definitely not what I'm saying. Don't ever think that I'm gonna say that. But truthfully, if you push someone you know to be a streamer, that is such a terrible thing to do. In this world, and without knowledge of what you're telling them to do, it is such an awful thing to do. If you were a live streamer and you did it for a living and you understood what came with it and you wanted to push somebody to do it because you thought that they could, I get it. But when average people like have their kid, that's like their kid wants to be a streamer and stuff like that, and the parents don't do their due diligence before they whack their kid on Twitch, it pisses me off so bad because you are putting your kid up to the masses, and if they make it past 5 viewers, like I mean, and no kid should have to endure that. Plain and simple, because like if you like, luckily I have like a held for review section on YouTube and stuff like that, and I've pretty much figured out the keywords that I need to block so that I, you know, I'm not having to deal with like ridiculousness. But every once in a while I still get some comments that are like the worst thing that no one should have to deal with, you know? And it's terrible. And thinking that someone would throw their 13-year-old kid or even an 18-year-old kid up against that, nah, man. So my big thing is if you don't have knowledge of a situation fully and you're thinking, you know, like, I know that you're trying to help. Don't get me wrong. I get that. I'm like, I understand that. But that's like telling somebody that understands CNN, you know what? You should run for governor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, it's not a good idea. It's just not. And
say hello to Nick Super Chatted $4.99.
Oh, hey.
Why even explain this? People suck and always want to
no,
complain.
that's not what I'm getting at, bro.
I ignore them, people. They are not worth the energy.
That's also like the dumb that you kind of have to deal with is people that just say ignore it and stuff like that. And I'm not like talking shit about you, but like it is a dumb thing to say. It absolutely is. And I'm not talking shit about you. It's just that like you have no understanding of what it's like to have thousands of people say the exact same thing to you to where you start questioning yourself, even though you've fully like known yourself for such a long time. You will start questioning yourself when thousands of people tell you the exact same thing repeatedly. There's no way around it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like whining right now. I'm just kind of explaining the thought process that's like super frustrating. Raycon Derulo, yeah! Hey, GG's, bro. But nah, man, I think the whole thing is like, one, you shouldn't push anyone to be a streamer. You shouldn't push anyone to do content creation or anything like that. Like, if that person is creative, they'll find it themselves. We're in a world where you can find it yourself. It's not that hard. Everything is at your fingertips. You have a phone. If you want to upload a video, upload a video. Stop saying your kid needs to be a Twitch star. That is the weirdest I've ever heard. It is so weird. And the only thing people see is the good side of it. And I think there needs to be more education on the bad side of it. But the issue is anytime content creators try to talk about the bad side of it, everyone just calls them whiny because they think everybody makes millions of dollars. Truth be told, I don't pay myself as much as I should. And I've been told that a million times. I want you to know, like, from everybody, from, you know, from CPAs to like my dad, to like everything you can think, you know? I think when I first started dating Brooke, she told me I needed to pay myself more. Like, there's... People don't realize that content creators don't all just take home a Lambo. So there's a lot of misconceptions that come with like content creation, streaming, and stuff like that. If this guy snipes me, I'm gonna lose it, bro. This guy's kind of nasty, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of dig it. I'm sure Zach not paying him. I don't know. The frustrating thing is like, people need to just stop pushing other people to do things. Truthfully, you think someone blows up overnight. You will, in most cases. And in those cases, and at least like 99% of them, they didn't. They put a bunch of work in, and then it just ended up working out way down the road. But then there is certain scenarios where people really do just blow up overnight for the dumbest stuff. And if it works, it works. I mean, it's just being in the right climate at the right time. But that's like few and far between, you know? So I just wish that people had the understanding of what it took to be like a creator. And I don't think by any means that my life is more difficult than anybody else's, you know? But I have worked jobs that were like in factories. I have worked construction. I've done a lot of things in my life before I was a full-time content creator. And while doing all those things, I might add, I was also creating content. And let me tell you, mentally, not physically, mentally, this is the most draining job I have ever had. And I don't want that for anyone. So when someone says, you know, I'd love it if my kid could get into this world. No, I don't want your kid to get into this world. I really, with everything in me, I don't want to see some 13-year-old kid suffer because their dad said you should do this. And it sucks because it's usually the most supportive parents that want their kids to do what makes them happy. You know? And I love that the parents are so supportive, but at the same time, it does kind of suck for the kid because they don't know. Pour me a drink. Exactly, bro. That's what I'm saying. This is the exact thing that happens every single time that someone has this conversation. Is that they assume that it's like, I'm about me. I actually am not about me in any way. But I just don't like seeing kids being pushed into this life. You know? It's just not a cool thing to do in my personal opinion. Like, I don't think humans were meant to be exposed to social media in the form that it's in. Personally, like, as someone that has lived in this for some years now, I don't think we were meant to be exposed to this. I don't think the human mind was ready for it when it happened. The amount of knowledge that we had up until like the 1980s, and then the expansion that we were given, and then social media and people being able to be completely faceless, and you have no idea who it is, or, you know, there's no consequences for these people, and they can just say whatever they want to you, and then you are just expected to brush it off whenever it's not just them. You know, you could have a physical attribute, you know? Imagine you have like a cleft lip and like 1,000 people that you don't know all see you and they think you're disgusting because of something like that. Obviously, you know, I don't think that or anything, but my point is imagine having something like that and enduring that at scale. It's weird. It's weird that we've made it to that point in society. And that's why every time I see someone say something about like, you know, what my kid is ridiculously good at Call of Duty. What do I need to do to get them into streaming? You don't. That's the truth of it. You don't. You don't get your kid in streaming. If they want to stumble upon it and give it a shot themselves, then let them stumble into it whenever they can. But you need to give them help on how to maneuver it. That's your job as a parent. In the world being what it is, ooh, homie's got shots. It's just your job to help them and like work their way through it. It's not your job to push them into anything. It's one thing when I like have kids, like they're gonna see me doing content creation and they're gonna see that I'm happy being able to be creative, but at the same time, the mental struggle that comes with it sometimes, I don't think it's natural to push that on their kid.
Denali tipped $10. Agreed. If you read a book of what the technology plans for the next years would scare anyone that has a mature seen the book, and it's terrifying. Mind blown. Mind blown. Poop.
Solid copy. Mortar strike on the way. Gas is close.
Buxton 4045 tipped $20.
Holy
Love your content.
Yo,
Keep
you guys
doing
are
what you
popping
doing.
off today. Y'all are popping off today. I'm gonna run through everybody's names and stuff like that and give a huge thank you at the end of this game. You guys are ridiculous. I know this is so ironic for the situation that we're in because I'm like sitting there talking about how like, you know, money isn't like guaranteed and stuff like that. And then y'all are just popping off with like tips and stuff like that. But I think that's the big thing is like being real and being like honest about things in life kind of helps. Oh.
Gas is moving in. Safe zone located. You're losing ground. You've got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. Gas is moving.
This is Jeej, I think, on me. If I pull this off, by the way, I've had my audio set to 30 this whole time.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone.
This is crazy. Hold on.
Gas is closing in.
I've literally had my audio set to 30. Check that out. Hey, GG's. I'm gonna let you get the win, bro. I'm gonna let you get the win. Get up, hey, GG's, get up. No. I promise. I'm dropping all my stuff. Hey, GG's. Have a great, hey, Facebook.gg, bro.
Yeah, we can fight. Hold on. Let me drop him.
No, bro. No. You get the win. You get the win. Have a good day. I saw the FB.gg. It just seemed like a right play.